Brown from empowerednurses.org and yournurseattorney.com, and I'm here today with the Hey Nurses What's Next, how 21 nurses became business owners and successful entrepreneurs. But this person today, our special guest, is a little exception, and I'm really excited to share about her. So one fun fact about Janie Harvey Garner is that she has a hedgehog named Harry and Mud, and I'm sure she'll tell you about her hedgehog soon. But let's welcome Janie.
Well, thank you, Lori. I'm so glad to be included. It's always an honor to be included and to be able to come on with you because I love talking to you. It's so much fun.
We do a lot of lives. Janie is the administrator and creator of Show Me Your Stethoscope. So she found a need and ran with it, and she has the largest Facebook group of nurses, a private group on the internet. So I'm very excited to speak with Janie today. So Janie is a cardiac electrophysiology nurse at the VA, and she started the Show Me Your Stethoscope community on Facebook. She's also a nurse advocate for safe staffing against criminal prosecution for medical errors, or medication errors, right? And she's just been a huge advocate for nurses. She speaks her mind, she stands in her power, and she creates change. And I'm just thrilled to have you here, Janie. And that's the beautiful thing about Janie is she'll say what she feels. Now, she may not have, not everybody might agree with her, and that's okay. She takes a stand for what she believes in. And people should be allowed to believe what they want and not be criticized for it.
Well, I mean, I get criticized for it, but I think it's okay to be criticized. I think that these discussions need to happen.
They do.
That we need to have these discussions civilly about the things in nursing that we need to change, that need big changes, that need little changes, and nurse civility. You know, between each other, our nurse community, we need to be able to argue without being mean, and we need to be able to improve care and improve our own environment by having the discussion. So plenty of people don't agree with me on a lot of things, but it's totally okay with me. I love it.
Yeah, and that's what makes the world, is that we all have our unique and different opinions, and it's okay, but having a safe space to voice them and share ideas, and you know, because really, who knows who's wrong or right? There is no such thing. It just is.
Yep, we're just people going through life, and we see things that we think are maybe not optimal or even wrong or dangerous or whatever, and we talk about them. And in nursing, it is so hard because nurses are terrified to speak out about anything, and I'm just not. I figure that I can be fired, and then I'll go get another job. Mm-hmm. But having said that, my workplace has been very supportive of me. I mean, I work for the federal government. I work for the VA, which, by the way, is my honor. I love working there, and I love taking care of our vets. I gave up a perfectly good career in emergency nursing to go work for cardiology at the VA, and it is my honor to do so. And I feel like everything I do to advocate for nurses, I'm also advocating for my veterans so they can get better care. And my workplace has been very supportive.
That's great. That's great. So how did you get the idea to start Show Me Your Stethoscope?
Okay, so it's a funny story. I was at work, and this a notification came up on my phone about The View. And I hit it, and I looked. And I saw that Miss Colorado, Kelly Johnson, was like lambasted on daytime television because she was wearing a costume and a doctor's stethoscope, which cracked me up because the only doctor's stethoscope I know of is when they borrow it from me. And you know, didn't she know that she could never win with this monologue, which, by the way, was a beautiful, beautiful monologue about a patient who changed her life. I was furious. I was just like, what is happening here? Why are these powerful women using their platform to ridicule another woman? And for that matter, a majority woman profession. You know, this isn't just a beauty contest. This is a nurse who poured her heart out, and they were just awful. So when I got home, I created a Facebook group called Show Me Your Stethoscope. Though I am from New York, I actually live in Missouri, south of St. Louis. And so we're the show me state. Missouri is a show me state. So I put show me your stethoscope, and I told all my friends to show me pictures of them and their stethoscopes. I had just been working at the VA for not really a long time. So I thought most of my old ER colleagues were just going to put pictures up showing me their stethoscope. And then it was 25,000 people. And then I was like, wow, that's cool. And then it was 50, and then it was 250. And then it was 500, and ultimately up to 815,000 people joined Show Me Your Stethoscope. And when I saw it, I went, oh my God, what am I going to do with this? And then I said, you're going to do good. What you're going to do is do good. And that's what we have been striving to do ever since September 15th, 2015. And I got a great team together. They volunteered. We all meshed. It was awesome. And we immediately started to do good things for nurses and patients. And I'm so grateful that I was in the right place at the right time to start this. And I feel like our whole team has really kept it moving for the 4 years since we started.
And it's a wonderful place because nurses really don't have a safe place to land and to share their feelings and to get support. And so by having this private group, it's a venue at least for those tough conversations to take place.
And the conversations, I mean, honestly, you're going to have people that are just internet trolls. You're going to have them. It's keyboard warrior syndrome. They think they can say anything because they're behind a keyboard. Right. But we have so many good discussions. We have so many, like, we'll talk about hospice and the difference between, hospice and assisted suicide, because hospice nurses get very upset when you talk about hospice with assisted suicide anywhere near that specialty. They don't want to hear it. And I don't blame them because, hospice has been misrepresented a lot. And you'll get nurses in from like the Northwest where assisted suicide is legal. And then you'll get nurses from the Midwest in hospice. And they'll talk about appropriate care plans, appropriate treatment, when enough is enough. And you will just see these beautiful friendships blooming. And I know myself, I have had lifelong terrific friendships bloom from Show Me Your Stethoscope, and lots of other people have too. Also, we've had people get married that met at Show Me Your Stethoscope. We've also helped a couple adopt a baby.
Wow.
So we've had a lot of really neat stuff happen. And I think that this is the future of nursing. The future of nursing is in large online communities sharing their knowledge.
It's collaboration. And as nurses, we need to stand together to make the changes necessary we want to see in our profession.
We do. And there have been so many, the safe staffing initiatives that we have been part of since the beginning. That safe staffing, Nurses Take DC, which was originally the brainchild of Dina Sowen. She wanted to do a rally in Washington, DC, and they weren't really getting enough participation and money, and we dove in and helped, and then it kind of grew a life of its own. And we have a whole team that does Nurses Take DC who are like fierce advocates for nurses. They are fierce. And I'm so grateful to them because they keep the movement going. And it's, it may not be this year. And I am of the opinion that safe staffing will actually happen on a state to state level, not on a national level.
Yeah.
Though nobody likes to hear me say that, but that is my opinion. But I think that this initiative, this movement by nurses is eventually going to make our patients safer.
I agree. And not only is it going to help the patient and have better patient care, it's going to help the nurse because they're not going to have to be involved in malpractice cases or license issues. And a lot of the things that I see on my end are um, a lot of understaffing creates problems for malpractice and license issues for nurses.
And you're looking at failure to rescue
Yeah.
suits, failure to rescue. And it's a real, I mean, it's a real thing. And I've personally quit a job because I was afraid I was going to be involved in a failure to rescue suit because I was an ICU nurse who was being tripled every night with 3 critical patients. And I assumed eventually somebody was going to die on my watch, and I quit.
And that's always my favorite saying. You can always get another job, you can't get another license.
Nope, 1 license per customer.
Yep, but if you're not happy where you're at, you know, if you're concerned that your license is in jeopardy, then go. There's no reason to stay.
And I've been there in a situation where, frankly, I needed the money, and I did not, you know, have a backup plan or much of a savings account, and I just quit. And then I got another job. Hey, guess what? The same day, because I got off that morning. I always work nights, and yeah, got a job the same day. That's, you can never replace your nursing license, and frankly, you can't replace your integrity, where you refuse to be a part of substandard dangerous care. And I have always made that a priority for myself. You know, I just refuse to be part of that.
And what better message to send to them is that, hey, I'm not going to put up with this. This isn't right. And
I love the saying that we don't have a nursing shortage. We have a shortage of nurses willing to put up with this. That's, I actually have a couple of nurse friends who have left nursing.
Yeah.
Because of this very thing. And when we look at, for example, the issue at Vandy, you know what I'm talking about, Redonda. Yeah. So, I mean, we have a situation where a float nurse was told to go give sedation to a patient in another department with no barcode scanning on a patient she didn't know, because the nurses down there didn't think it was safe because she was, you know, not being monitored, and she went down there and she gave the wrong medication, and the patient died. Whether it was secondary to the medication or not, we don't know really, and that's been a thing that has been, you know, being tossed around. But, you know, she wasn't a nurse for, you know, 20 years. First of all, she was a reasonably new nurse. She was floating, which I'm very surprised that anybody would put a nurse of that many years in like critical care floating. And there was no barcode scanning. They were rolling out a new EHR. She didn't know the patient, and she didn't know the medication. And all of these things contributed to the death of a patient, which is why I personally decided to fundraise for her and get money to fund her defense. Because if we start letting nurse error become reckless homicide, I think a lot of people would be very done with this profession if they thought they could go to prison for making a mistake. If somebody makes a mistake at a restaurant, you go get a new plate. You know, it's a very slippery slope. It's very dangerous. And the reason we're practicing medicine is because we're not perfect.
Yep, absolutely.
Sorry, I was a little diatribe there. You know how I feel about that whole situation. I feel like to protect nurses that we need to make sure this type of prosecution, criminal prosecution, is not a thing. I mean, malpractice, civil suits, absolutely. But taking away somebody's freedom, not good.
So let's go back to show me your stethoscope and talk about how do you monetize it? And I'm not necessarily talking about money because you are still a practicing nurse, but you know, it is still a business, right?
It is a business, and because our business is more advocacy than anything else, we actually manage to keep ourselves funded with strategic partnerships. We have a couple of very large companies that we have done some business with who have funded us to, you know, we've used the platform to get their stuff out there. And it's I mean, it's a big group of nurses. When you want to target a group of nurses, the way to do it is through Show Me Your Stethoscope. And there are a lot of companies that have decided that over the last 4 years. And we have someone who does most of our strategic partnerships because they're good at it. And it has allowed us to stipend people the first time this year. It was great. And pay some of our admin staff to do work, which is something we really need to do. I mean, granted, they're awesome volunteers, but they also, you burn people out when you volunteer them to death. And because actually we're not looking at making like we'd love to be able to salary people, but we're not trying to run it as a standalone business for me to go do stuff. I'd love to get out on the speaking circuit and stuff, but I'm not looking to get out of bedside nursing. And that's where I guess I probably differ from most of the people that you've talked to. I don't care if I ever make $1 off Show Me Your Stethoscope. Honestly, what I want to make is a difference. And that's what my business plan is.
And that's great. And so, for those of you watching, you can still make a difference. You can still have a business and still stay clinically active. The choice is yours.
You can, and it's great to make money, to go out and that be your job. I think that's awesome. I think that is terrific to go out and be an entrepreneur and be able to make your salary or better with your nursing business and your writing and your speaking and all the things we're doing. But in our case, it's more an advocacy issue than a monetary issue. Not that I wouldn't like to have a yacht and a mansion, because I would.
But we talk about how, if you see a need and you fill it and you're passionate about it, you can turn it into a business, which is what you have. And you can do as much or as little with it as you want. And what you've created here is an amazing platform for nurses to share and speak their mind and get support. And it's awesome.
Yeah, our saying is that nurses take care of people and we take care of nurses. And that's what we really want to do. We want to improve the lot of nurses. Did you know that we did a tranquility room at University Hospital in Las Vegas after the shooting out there? We created a tranquility room for them, paid for it. Our members paid for it, actually. And it has like biofeedback and heart math and essential oils and all these different, little Zen gardens and whatever. And the guarantee, this was the part that was important to me. The guarantee that anyone who needed to go use the tranquility room would be relieved by the nurse and CNA that they specially hired on each shift. That was my like putting my foot down. That was because if you don't have the staffing for them to use it, then I'm not paying for it.
Right. And
so that's my currency. My currency is kindness, I guess. That's and for it to be useful.
That's great. And what I always say is, who's there for the nurse? Like when there's a school shooting or something like that, they bring in all the counselors and the grief counselors and the chaplains and you name it. And then there's something with nurses and nobody takes care of them and nobody helps them process their feelings and recover from this horrific event.
Yeah. And then it's gone. They're gone. And it's like when we do like a root cause analysis and you're talking about your own patient and they died and it was tragic and everybody's there and wants to get all into it. And then they just all leave and you're left with all of that and no support. And I want to see nurses get ongoing support from their employers I would bet that 30% of nurses have PTSD. I'm just going to say it. They're assaulted, they're, dealing with, trauma patients and dead babies. And I'm sure that they do have some nurses develop like PTSD from what we do. And I would love to see an environment where we can, help nurses through that everywhere, not just in one place in Las Vegas where we did a tranquility room,
Well, and we tend to like shut down and wall off and close off our feelings because it's too painful. But then you lose part of the joy and the humanness in it too, and it leads to depression and we have enough suicide rate for nurses as it is.
And we have a big suicide rate and a big drug addiction rate and all these, people self-medicating.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful. And improving the lot of the nurse is actually something that means a lot to me, because I'm not sure if I've ever told you this, Lori, but nursing actually saved my life. And it's one of those. When my oldest son was killed in 2011, and when I worked from home for a little while doing like hospital access on the phone and whatever. And when I realized that my son would be like completely and utterly ashamed of the person I had become, and I had nursing to save me. And I went back to the ER and I went and and it was what saved me. And I believe I owe it to nursing to continue doing advocacy.
That's great. We're lucky we have you.
Oh, hey, I feel lucky to have you. You've come on and done some great episodes with me on the live cast, which are so interesting. What you do is so amazingly interesting to me. But of course, I would love to be like a legal nurse consultant or whatever, because I like to be in everybody's business.
So can you share a mistake that you made, through Show Me Your Stethoscope and what you learned from it?
Oh, yes, I can. So we were dealing with an out-of-country person who was helping us be able to direct some aid to a community in a third world country. And we were having a hard time sending the money that we got from our members to this individual, simply because the country has so much corruption that PayPal won't deal with them.
Oh, no.
Okay, so it was like told all over the internet that I was like stealing money from orphans or something. I'm just like, please, are you kidding me? And I finally figured out a way at my own expense to send this money Western Union, which was also a pain because I had to do it in person with two forms of ID because of where it was going. Yeah. And so basically, part of, I think, doing this kind of business is that you can't let your heart get in front of your head. You have to have a solid plan to finish whatever it is you're starting. Like if I had really looked into it, I would have known you can't PayPal money to this country. I would have known, but my heart was there and my heart said, no, you can do it. So that's part of that research is so important. And my team every now and then actually wants to hit me with blunt objects because I say that I'm going to do something before I figure out how I'm going to do it. Now, most of the time it works. They call it Janie's harebrained ideas. And most of the time it works, but honestly, planning, especially in financial matters when you're dealing with like a promise that you've made, is something that I could have done better with Show Me Your Stethoscope and endeavor to now. I'm much more careful now, but could have totally ruined my reputation as a nurse and as somebody who's an advocate. And I'm so glad it didn't, because frankly, people didn't believe that I would do something like that. But the people that don't know you, they could think that you were, a criminal. but that was my biggest mistake, I think. My second biggest mistake was probably, I don't know. No, that one's not even that bad. We'll just go with the biggest mistake. That's it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So you learn to put your head before your heart, even though you can't be, you want to come from your heart in what you do and come, be guided in what you want to do, but you got to think through it too.
Yeah, it's really terrible when you just go off on one and just say you're going to do something and then find out that you can't actually do it the way you were supposed to do it. It was a nightmare. So, but luckily it worked out okay. Nobody's saying Janie Harvey Garner's a criminal on the internet, but it could have been that. It could have easily completely ruined my reputation and everything that Show Me Your Stethoscope stood for, because our members donated that money.
So tell me about this hedgehog.
All right. So Harry Mudd is, she is a sweet hedgehog. She's not quite a year old. And she was named, actually we thought she was a boy. So I named her Harry Mudd from Star Trek, from like the Trouble with Tribbles episode, because she looked like a little tribble in her little ball. And so I named her Harry Mudd, Harcourt Fenton Mudd. Then I realized she was a girl, so now she's Harry Ann Mudd. But she's a lot of fun. And I guess by that comment you realize that I'm also a sci-fi dork. Totally.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I am all about the sci-fi, every sci-fi. So,
have you been to Star Wars Land yet?
oh yeah, and this whole house, my kids, my husband, everybody's a dork. We play D&D. Okay, we play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So and I'm nearly 50. So so we're a bunch of dorks here, and it seems to work for us. So
that's great. And then so Show Me Your Stethoscope also has in person and has a cruise that they do, right?
Yes. So we have, this is our 4th year doing a cruise. This year, I think we're going on Royal Caribbean, Independence of the Seas, and it's like March 7th through 12th. I think we only have a couple of spots left though. It is a nurse cruise, and we have such a great time. And some of our sponsors will send tchotchkes for the nurses. We have these I Love Nurses shirts and bags, and I usually do a little get together, and we talk about a topic. We may have CUs this year, we're not sure yet, but we have such a great time. And it's so cool because if you have your non-nurse spouse or whatever with you, there are a ton of them, because there's like a non-nurse for every nurse. So they don't even have to sit at the same table at dinner if they want, if we're telling really disgusting stories. They can just go over there. It's a great opportunity to get to know nurses from everywhere. And we have people that go every single year, and it's so exciting to be part of it. That's another one of those things we don't make any money off of, because it's just not big enough. We don't have that many people. What we did instead was we gave a cruise away for our birthday, instead of like taking the money that we made off of it. So that's because that's what we do. we give stuff away. Maybe not the best way to be an entrepreneur. I'm just going to say it. I could probably have made quite a bit of money off Show Me Your Stethoscope. Everybody has a different focus.
Yeah.
And like I said, my focus is just making nursing better for us and for our patients, So that's kind of my currency. That's what I make.
Well, and I'm going on the cruise this year too, so I'd love to meet everybody.
Oh, you're going to love this, Lori. We have so much fun, and everybody is so goofy. It is like amazingly fun. Hey, 1 second. Everybody be quiet. Mommy's working. There we go. So.
Now. I wish it was now instead of March. So, I might just vegetate the whole entire time.
There is like so much going on in and out of this house all the time. It's just like I can't even keep track of who lives here. But actually, so my son will be coming on the cruise. So anybody who wants to meet my kid can come and hang out. We'll have a great time.
And my daughter too. So.
Yeah, this is going to be so much fun. Ian will love having somebody to hang out with.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to hang out with the old stuffy nurses. I mean, who'd want to do that?
My daughter, she usually goes with me when I speak, and she's always like, usually I'll do door prizes or something, to make it fun. she imitates me giving my speech. But
Ian is actually very well known to Show Me Your Stethoscope because he always busts in on my live casts.
Yeah.
Everybody always wants to see him. I really can't wait for that cruise, and I hope lots of nurses decide to join us on that because it's just so relaxing and so chill. And we're going to Jamaica and Haiti this year, so this is totally new. Usually we hit like Bahamas or Mexico, and this is totally new for us.
Great. Well,
So,
I'm looking forward to it.
I
How can people find, if you're not in the Show Me Your Stethoscope group, how can they find you?
Oh, Facebook.com/Show Me Your Stethoscope. And you can also do Facebook.com/Show Me Your Stethoscope page to find our page. Or you can just search Show Me Your Stethoscope on Facebook, and you'll find us, because we're the group with the 600,000 plus people in it. Please do answer our questions, because we do not consider membership requests unless you answer the questions, because lots of bots try to join our group because it's huge. It's valuable for them. And so we're very careful about membership, but we are happy to let you, come in and join the discussion and get your opinion out there. Get what's important to you out there, because what's important to you should be important to us as nurses.
And you do nurses notes or your
nurses notes or shift report.
Yeah.
I've been a little lax on my shift reporting lately. I just needed a little break, I think, but it's winter, so I'll be back into it. I've been doing my garden and canning and all kinds of crazy stuff. So, now that it's winter again, I'll be back on the live casts a little more. And we have our Christmas families coming up as well. We adopt healthcare families for Christmas. So.
So beautiful.
I know, right? I don't have enough stuff to do.
Yeah, really. So this has certainly kept you very busy.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's so awesome to be able to be busy this way.
Yeah,
and,
you're making a difference.
Yeah, making a difference. If we make a difference with one person, then it was worth it, the whole thing.
Yeah. So what advice would you have for nurses if they want to start their business?
Say again, Lori?
What advice would you have for a nurse who wants to start their own business?
Okay, my advice is find out about all the legal requirements of owning a business and taxes, and because we as nurses don't necessarily know anything about like the actual legality of business and what we actually are required to do with the business and the tax filing and the quarterly this and the licensing that and whatever it is. It is very outside of our scope a lot of times, and that was huge for me. I was telling people I was a not-for-profit a year before I was. I didn't even realize I wasn't. This is me being dumb. I'm not even kidding. We had to rectify all that because I didn't realize I wasn't a not-for-profit. I got this note. I was like, yay. No, they were just telling me they had my application. Okay. So that is my, so you don't get caught up in legal difficulties with your business, because it's stressful enough to try to get a business off the ground without doing the wrong things legally.
As a nurse, your license can still be held responsible, so
yes,
you got to be very careful.
Yeah, and I had to call the IRS and this person and that person, and hey, we took a donation from you, but it wasn't actually a donation because I messed up. And luckily, I guess people knew that I wasn't, trying to take from them, and we just got it all straightened out and moved on. But it was actually, it could have been a disaster. So that's my big advice. Please find out what you're supposed to do legally. I just jumped in.
Yep. Great advice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I could talk to you all day because you are completely amazing. But I so appreciate you being on this show, and we'll see you next time.
Lori, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. It was so much fun.
Oh, my honor. And so we'll catch you for the next show. Bye, everyone.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye.